Good morning to all. Today I am going to new chapter in history textbook name the Indian Constitution Rights and Duties. New lesson Indian Constitution Rights and Duties. First one, read the preamble in your textbook, page number 39. Indian Constitution of the Constitution of India preamble. We the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens. Okay, this is the first part of preamble, Indian Constitution preamble. Okay, in the preamble it is declared that India is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. India preamble is declared that India is sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. Okay, it also ensures certain socio-political and economic objectives. Then the important part of the fundamental rights, important part of this chapter, fundamental rights. Most important among them are included part 3 of our constitution as the fundamental rights. Okay, fundamental rights. Fundamental rights. Most important among them are included in part 3 of our constitutions as the fundamental rights. Part 3. Very important point. Okay, why are the certain rights known as fundamental rights? The certain rights known as fundamental rights. Okay, fundamental rights are although rights which cannot be denied to person at any cost. They are inevitable. They are inevitable for an holistic development of an individual. Holistic development of an individual. They are very essential for leading a dignified life. Dignified life. So the fundamental rights and their protections are very important in democratic society. Okay, fundamental rights are those rights which cannot be denied to a person at any cost. They are inevitable. They are inevitable for a holistic development of an individual. They are very essential for leading a dignified life. So the fundamental rights and their protection are very important in a democratic society. Okay, then did the people of India enjoy rights and liberty during the British rule? Yes or no? Did the people of India enjoy rights and liberty? Enjoy rights and liberty during British rule? Yes or no? No. You might have understood that the Indian has been denied many rights during the British rule. so many rights denied by the British rule. The Indian freedom movement repeatedly raised the demand for ensuring rights of the citizen. The most important among them was the Nehru Committee report of 1928. 1928 Nehru Committee report. This report submitted a list of rights which are to be ensured to the people of India. The framers of the constitutions prepared the fundamental rights based on the rights aimed by the struggle for independence and recommended by Nehru Committee report in 1928. The Bill of Rights in the American Constitution. Bill of Rights in the American Constitutions also influenced the formulation of our fundamental rights. American Constitutions also influenced the formulation of our fundamental rights. Fundamental rights included the Part 3 and American Constitutions also influenced the formation of our fundamental rights. Then there are 6 fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution. 6 fundamental rights in Indian Constitution. Which are the 6 fundamental rights? Okay. First one, right to equality. Right to equality. Right to freedom. Right to freedom. Right against exploitation. Right against exploitation. And fourth one, right to freedom of religion. Right to freedom of religion. Then fifth one, cultural and educational rights. Cultural and educational rights. Then last one, right to constitutional remedies. Right to constitutional remedies. These are the main fundamental rights in our Constitution. 6 fundamental rights. First one, right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights. The last one, right to constitutional remedies. Okay, first one, right to equality. First one, right to equality. Then take your textbook, read the newspaper headline news in your textbook page number 41. Human rights associations for demolishing the caste fort in Madhyamapuram village. Okay, read the paragraph. Then what are the different types of discrimination mentioned in the news given above? Okay, what are the different types of discrimination? Discrimination based on caste, discrimination based on caste, gender inequality, then discrimination based on place of birth. So many discrimination exist in our olden days in India. Birth place discrimination, caste discrimination, gender discrimination, inequality discrimination, gender inequality, wealth discrimination, rich and poor discrimination. So many discrimination exist in our society. Our society is one of which having various inequalities and discriminations of different types. Right to inequality stands for abolishing these types of social inequalities and ensure equality. Okay. The ideas included the right to equality. The ideas included in the right to equality. First one, ensure equality before law. Ensure equality before law. Prohibition of discrimination on the basis of caste, religion, race, sex, place of birth, etc. Okay. First one, ensure equality before law. Second one, prohibition of discrimination on the basis of caste, religion, race, sex, place of birth, etc. Ensure equality of opportunity in public employment. Abolition of untouchability. Abolition of untouchability. Abolition of titles. Abolition of titles, etc. Abolition of titles, etc. However, given performance of women, children and the backward classes in not against the right to equality. One of the other hand, by giving performance, inequality can be avoided, the equality can be established. Okay. First one, right to equality. Right to equality. Ensure equality before law. Prohibition of discrimination on the caste, religion, race, sex, place of birth, wealth, etc. and etc. Then ensure equality of opportunity in the public employment. Abolition of untouchability. Abolition of titles. So many name titles, etc. Then another fundamental rights, right to freedom. Right to freedom. Right to freedom. Look at the textbook, page number 42. See the one picture. Picture of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. What's the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar? The architecture of constitutions of India, addressing the public and the peaceful gathering to listen to speech is given. Okay. Then these two are related to certain freedom guaranteed by the Indian constitutions. Two types of freedom gathered the Indian constitutions. Which are they? First one, freedom of speech and expression. Freedom of speech and expression. Freedom to assemble peacefully without arms. Without arms. Freedom to assemble peacefully without arms. These are the two types of freedom. First one, freedom of speech and expression. Freedom of speech and expression. Then another, freedom of assembled peaceful without arms. Okay. Then another, freedom to from associations. Freedom to from association. Freedom to travel anywhere in India, everywhere in India, not problem. Then freedom to from associations, freedom to travel anywhere and everywhere, not fear. freedom to reside anywhere in India, everywhere in India. Then next, freedom to carry on any occupations, trade or business, etc. Then right to life and personal liberty, right to free and compulsory education to all children in the age group of 6 to 14 years, compulsory education, 6 to 14 years, compulsory and education, free and compulsory. Okay, protection from arbitrary arrest and detention. Okay, right to freedom is very important in democratic state, very important in democratic state. The above mentioned the fundamental rights helped to empowering democratic culture in India, empower democratic culture in India. Okay, at the same time, all these are subject or restrictions. They cannot be enjoyed in such a way to cause threat to the unity and peaceful atmosphere of the country. Okay, these are the right to freedom. Then third point, third fundamental right, right against exploitation, right against exploitation. Look at the picture. Look at the picture. Right against exploitation. Observe and analyze the picture. What all can you understand from these pictures? Okay, it is a picture of children who are working in a labor site. Then the picture of children who working in a labor sites, mines, etc. and etc. In India, there exist different types of exploitation, including child labor. Including the child labor, we can see economic exploitation similar to slavery around us. The right against exploitation is concerned with the prohibition of this type of exploitations and equip the individuals for leading the signified life. Okay. Then forced labor of trafficking human beings are prohibited. Then employment of children in factories and other generous sectors are forbidden. These are the against exploitation rights. Right against exploitations. Okay. Then another fundamental rights, right to freedom of religion. Right to freedom of religion. Then look at the textbook, page number 44. Listen the Jawaharlal Nehru quotings. Listen the Jawaharlal Nehru words quotings. Jawaharlal Nehru was the architect of modern India. Jawaharlal Nehru, first Prime Minister in India and the architect of modern India. Okay. What is mean by secularism? What is mean by secularism? There is no official religion for India. There is no official religion in India. India does not promote any religion. Does not promote any religion. But religion's freedom is ensured by the constitutions. By the constitutions. But religion freedom is ensured by the constitutions. Right to freedom of religion ensure the following points. First one, right to profess, practice and propagate and religion, freedom to establish and maintain institutions for religious and charitable purpose. Then another point, right against taxation, for promoting a particular region. At the same time, religion instruction in any educational institutions wholly maintained by the states or receiving aid from the state is prohibited. Okay, these are the right to freedom of religion. Then another point, cultural and educational rights. Cultural and educational rights. Read your textbook, page number 45, newspaper report. India is a land of diversity. India is a land of diversity. It is inevitable to recognize and respect the diversity for maintaining the unity and developed of the country. Hence, our constitution give a prime consideration for the protection of minority interest. Okay, minority interest. Cultural and educational rights have been included in the constitution for the protection of the interest of the minority section. Protection of the interest of the minority sections. According to this, the following aspects have been ensured. These the following aspects: protection for their language, script and culture. Religious and linguistic minorities have the right to establish and administer educational institutions of their choice. Okay, these are the cultural and educational rights. Then another rights, right to constitutional remedies. Right to constitutional remedies. You have understood that the fundamental rights. Have you noticed a situation of violation of any fundamental rights? The constitution purpose remedial measures if fundamental rights are violated. This is known as the right to constitutional remedies. This is known as right to constitutional remedies. As per this right, if the fundamental rights is violated, an individual can approach either Supreme Court or the High Court for enforcing them. The order issued by the respective court for the enforcement of the fundamental rights are known as writ. 5 types of writ: habeas corpus, certiorari, another habeas corpus, certiorari, next prohibition, quo warranto, etc. Okay, so 5 writ existed in this our country. Okay, these are the main points of our fundamental rights. 6 fundamental rights. Then writ, the Supreme Court and the High Court have the power of issue 5 types of writs of the protection of fundamental rights: habeas corpus, mandamus, quo warranto, certiorari and prohibition. Okay, these are the 5 writs in our country. Okay, take your notebook, write down one question. Question number 1. Analyze column A and column B. Column A and column B, page number, textbook page number 47. First, column A, right to freedom for expression. Column B, right to freedom. Then another point, right to propagate religion. Then column B, dash. Right to from association. Another, right to protect language. Protection from abolition for gender discrimination. These are the points in complete the table in your textbook. Then another question, write a short note about fundamental rights and fundamental rights. Okay, fundamental rights. Write a short note about fundamental rights. Then next part, directive principles. Okay, listen. Directive principles. Principles. Directive principles. The constitutions direct the central and state government of organize and implement programs like the action plans of plastic waste management treatment, government declare rebate to Khadi and products, etc. and etc. Such directives are included in part 4 of the Indian constitutions as the directive principles. Directive principles included in part 4. Fundamental rights included in part 3. Directive principles included in part 4. Okay. Socio-economic and political programs with the help of the creations of welfare states and included the directive principles. As the name indicates, all these are directions. There are directives to the state which are the considered while formulating policies and implementing plans. Certain rights which were impossible to be included the fundamental rights and also included in the directive principles. There is no provision to approach in court for the enforcement of the directive principles. No court approach. Several ideas of the father of our nations, Mahatma Gandhi, have been included the directive principles. Some of them are, first one, organization of Grama Panchayat or Gram Swaraj. Then promotion of cottage industries promoted. Then prohibition of intoxicating substance. Prohibition of intoxicating, fundamental rights and directive principles. Directive principles are to be implemented for the realization of the fundamental rights and its full sense as the criterion which with the help evaluation and betterment of the government activities, no one can deny the importance of the directive principles. These are the main content of the directive principles. Directive principles, Mahatma Gandhi have been included the directive principles. First one, organization of Grama Panchayat, promotion of cottage industries, prohibition of intoxicating substance. Then there are the main points of the directive principles. The last one, fundamental duties. Fundamental duties. Last one, fundamental duties. Look at the textbook, page number 48. Complete the checklist given below. First one, I stand up while the national anthem is being sung. Yes or no? Second one, I realized that historical monuments are to be protected. Yes or no? Then I try to foster among the people, yes or no. I protect the unity and the integrity of the nation, yes or no. I try to protect the environment, yes or no. Certain duties which we have to perform are given in the above checklist. Then along with the enjoyment of fundamental rights, fundamental duties are to be performed. Fundamental duties are included part 4A. Fundamental duties included part 4A. Fundamental rights part 3. Fundamental duties part 4A. Directive principles included part 4th, okay, of the fundamental duties part 4A of the Constitution. Certain duties are performed by the citizen toward the state to protect the unity of integrity of the nations, okay. These duties are known as fundamental duties. These duties is known as fundamental duties. When the state provided the right to protection, it is our duty abide the constitutions to develop coordinary among the citizen and provide help our betterment of the nations, okay. Then these are the main important functions of our right to Indian Constitution, right and duties. Then take your notebook, write down some important questions. Question number 1. Define fundamental rights. Question number 2. Which country constitution influenced the formation of fundamental rights in India? America, Britain, France. Which country? Okay, America. Then another question. What are the fundamental rights in Constitution of India? Then second question. Write a short note about directive principles. Short note about directive principles. Then last question. Write a short note about fundamental duties. Fundamental duties. Okay. Now I am going to wind up the class. Thank you.